Today is Monday the 4th of September, and the sun's just come out now, but we've actually had a lot of rain today and yesterday, and it's cold but not cold. It's cold as soon as the sun goes, it's cold. The rain this morning had a coldness to it. Anyways, it's just, I guess it's what you saw. I've got my gummies on because it's rain. I guess it's what you call spring weather. Spring weather is generally, you get cold days, warm days, rainy days, and yeah. Anyways, and in one day, sometimes you get 5 different weathers in one day. And I know I've got my glasses on. I just got these glasses from the op shop the other day, these sunnies. I know they're a bit dark, but it's actually quite glary today. And to tell you the truth, I actually do have a headache, so forgive me for the glasses, okay? Please forgive me. I've also got a really sore neck. My body's actually in a lot of pain. So I guess I'll start with this. You'll notice I've got the rings back on, which means positioning them, because I kept meaning to join the two together so that the diamond didn't keep swinging around. Now, the reason why I put my rings back on, so this alchemising Malaise and Inertia ties in with the rings. Where do I start? Where do I start? There's about 30 different tangents to this particular topic. So yesterday morning I woke up and my body could barely move. We had a really rainy day yesterday, and I've noticed that it's the rain that sets off my knee. I don't know if you can see it in the photo. It took me years to rehabilitate this knee to be able to move it properly, and right now it's excruciating. And I've noticed it, and yesterday more so, and I noticed that a lot of my injuries are worse in rainy weather. Okay, that's one point. It's just a fact. It's something about the damp and the cold that sets off the pain. So I've been doing all this physical hard work most of last week, and then yesterday morning when I went to wake up, to get up, I actually could barely move. I was so cripplised, and I'm pretty sure most of you understand the feeling. Some of you understand the feeling of cripplising pain and the emotional despair that comes with that. And then you've got to work with all of the emotions around the limitations of the injuries, and you've got to work with the actual physical feeling of the pain as well. And yesterday was Sunday, so I chose to watch church online. I'll just have to give you the hat. Yesterday I chose to watch church online and stay in bed. It felt quite luxurious, to tell you the truth. It was a really rainy, blistery, really stormy, rainy, grey day yesterday. And I knew that church was, I could visualise everyone in church, and it was live. It was a live stream, so as I was watching it was actually happening that second. So that felt interesting. First time ever watching church online, but knowing that it was happening that second, so I still felt part of everyone. And then I stayed in bed for another hour or so. I had a couple of people sending me messages, and I didn't know how to. I thought there was a car coming down this track, but it's the train. Basically, I didn't know how to respond, because there was a few people said, "Oh, I missed you at church. Hope you're okay," and invited me to a few things. And I really just didn't have the energy or the desire or the ability. But one thing I do know is I didn't feel alone. I knew I could have told any of these people. I felt like I was a bit bedridden. And it was interesting because God actually encouraged people to contact me, which actually, even though I was bedridden yesterday, well, I felt like I was bedridden. I didn't just feel like I was in pain, I actually felt sick, like I could feel this yucky feeling in my back, like, you know, that real icky feeling that you get in your body, in your muscles. Well, I just felt that. So I really appreciated that I didn't feel alone. Like, I knew if I wanted to, I could reach out to these people and tell them what was going on. So that was amazing. So it felt like a blessing, the honour, the blessing of being able to just stay in bed on a cold, stormy, rainy day. And I got up and I lit the fire. I thought, one way I can get through this day is if I light the fire and take the dampness away and give us that warm glow, you know, the orange warm glow. So that was me, really. I felt like being godly. I started yesterday. So really my point of the story is staying in bed wasn't going to work. I couldn't just stay in bed, but I had to honour that my body just wasn't working yesterday. It's not really working very well today either. I'm trying to walk up a hill and I can barely do it. In fact, I don't even know if I want to. Oh, we'll do it. We'll do it. We'll manage it. Anyways, the point of the story is, yeah, I feel like lighting the fire was a really good choice. And then I'm praying to God, surrendering, how do you want this day to look? How do you want this day to be? What's the most important thing? And I thought, well, I've got this big pile of washing on my bed because I do a lot of washing for the op shop, and I put it in my room because the dogs sleep on the couch in the lounge room. So I thought I might as well start with the washing, you know. And it's really cool because then, and I thought, you know what, I really want to go through all my stuff. I want to actually reduce what I own. So then I started going through all my clothes and working out what I wanted to actually give away, donate to the op shop. So that was amazing. And and then I had to set my body size change because I used to be size 6. Not long ago I was size 6 actually. I think it was only 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. Well, it's size 7. It's between 7 and 8 about 2 years ago. And now I'm between 10 and 12 because my premenopausal, because I'm premenopausal, my body's putting weight on. But not just that, it's other things as well. I'm not dancing and swimming as much and not love making. And so the only real exercise I really do really is these walks. And as you can see, I'm not walking very fast or well today. So yeah, less exercise and hormones. Anyways, the point of the story is I went through my clothes and some stuff I really love, you know, thinking a lot of my size 6 clothes, I went, seriously, I don't think I'm ever going to be size 6 ever again. I really don't. And this is an amazing outfit and I've worn it many times and it's fantastic, but I'm going to let it go. So that was amazing. So I did that for a lot of yesterday. And then I went through my sewing basket of all the things that have been in there for some of the stuff's been there for a few years. And then I looked through the sewing basket going, what in here am I actually really going to sew, fix up? Went through that, and we do a lot of fabric recycling, material recycling at the op shop. So stuff that I thought I'm not going to look, that's size 6. I haven't fixed it in all these years, so I'm going to let that go. That was really cool too, because then what happened was I got through a whole basket of sewing stuff, and the basket got reduced to just a couple of items. I thought, yeah, I will actually fix them up. I still will sew them eventually. And so that freed up a really nice basket, which I then later turned into my shopping bag holder. So there's this really nice basket that I've got in the lounge room that's got all my shopping bags in it. So that's because there was an area in the kitchen that just looked untidy because I had all the shopping bags in a bag. I don't know, just something about it looked a bit untidy, but having it all nicely in a basket, it looks really nice. So that felt great. That was a real tick. I did that later on in the night, the shopping bags in the basket, but the point of the story is the basket was empty and available, a really nice basket, empty and available, because I went through the sewing stuff and I let a lot of it go. And so less stuff around that I don't need, you know what I mean? Really good. This is really good for the body, really good for the brain. I think it's called spring cleaning, as we all know, and decluttering, feng shui, and there's many different but it is really godly action to clear out what we don't need, only keep it. And also, when I organised all my clothes, I reorganised them. I really organised them in such a way as, Nadina, your life is so different now. Like, is this something you'll actually really ever wear? Not even just about sizing, but is this something you'll actually ever really wear again? Because you don't really go out that often anymore. But really looking at my body shape changes and looking at what I feel comfortable wearing. And yeah, it was just a really interesting psychological process. It was like a process. Our clothes, we often identify a lot with our clothes. And I let some really nice things go to the op shop. And I also let some other really nice things go to the recycling box, which I thought, no, I'm not even going to get it to the op shop. It's too worn, it's too tired. And that was really sad. Like, one of the items was a really nice shirt that I've worn so many times, and it's so fantastic. But even if I give it to the op shop, but I just don't wear it anymore. I haven't worn it. See, that's another thing. I think if I don't wear something in 1 year, I've got to let it go. I've got to wear it at least once in 1 year. Oh, and then I also went through all my clothes and I got all my real woolen stuff, my real full-on winter stuff, and put it all in a big pile. I'm going to store it with mothballs and actually put that away until next winter, which is something that I've always wanted to do, like get the winter stuff out in summer and get the summer stuff out in winter. And then it frees up your drawers. I mean, for some of you might already do this, but I haven't. I just kept all my winter stuff, all my summer stuff, just stays there all the time. It's always in my cupboard, it's always in my drawers, you know what I mean? So there's a process about accepting the cycles of change, accepting the cycles of body shape change, a lifestyle change. It was all very powerful. And I know a lot of you know exactly what I'm talking about. Anyways, it's on my legs all day, using my arms all day. Got a lot done. And the interesting thing is, when I first started going through my sewing basket, there was a few items on the top, and one of them, I don't know how or why, I really don't know how it got there or why it was there, okay? So I'm just going to say it must have been God. It has to have been God on some level. I don't know, everyone. So this next bit coming up is where I'm going to start getting really emotional, okay? So, there was 3 or 4 items on the top of my sewing basket. And one of them was a t-shirt of my husband's that was unwashed. So it still had his smell on it. And I must have just got put there instead of the washing basket or something, you know what I mean? Like something as simple as that. So it's just this t-shirt. And I remember picking it up going, I wonder why this is here. This doesn't need sewing. And then as I picked it up, I went to fold it. Hi. Zena, Alvin, come on. Zena, sit. Hang on. Zena! Thank you. All right, this way. So basically, yeah, that was just a water corp truck. Ah! Alvin, Zena, Alvin, Alvin, to the right. I know, it's a person. Woohoo! No, Alvin, Alvin, Zena, Alvin, and Zena, quick, this way. Alvin, Zena. Oh, how naughty. Alvin, Zena, Alvin, come here now. Oh, they're so friendly. Alvin! Sorry about this. Sorry. They're super friendly. I just had to go up and say hello. But he's actually working. And I had a water corp guy tell me a while ago that, because that truck over there, you probably can't see it, but he's opened the gate into the water treatment area. Come on. And I got told that technically this is water corp land. They said because it's a sewage treatment plant up there, if the dogs get there and they get sick, they're trusting that I wouldn't sue them, as if I would anyways. But he opened the gate, and then beyond the gate was the treatment plant, which, you know, is poo. So basically dogs love poo, as we know. Zena and Alvin, you should have come straight away before. That was a bit naughty, all right? Just a little bit naughty. Anyways. They were right next to me, and I thought they were going to stay next to me, and then we're walking, turning right, and then as I started to walk, they went zoom, and they zoomed off to the guy, so I didn't expect them to do that, but they didn't go too close. They stayed a fair bit away, and they were wagging their tail, so he knew they were, anyways, blah, blah. So basically this shirt, right, I don't know why, it's a maroon t-shirt, and I don't know why, but when I picked it up off the sewing pile, and I saw it, and I went, oh, because I didn't expect to see one of my husband's t-shirts there. As when I saw it, I just hugged it. I put it really close to me, like as if it was him, and I was hugging him. And then I realised, oh my gosh, the smell of him. Whoo, the smell of him, because it was an unwashed t-shirt. And I just, whoa, man, like, I realised, well, this is like when someone dies, you know, when someone dies and you find something of theirs with their smell and you go, that's them again. And everything about them comes back because you can smell. It just really hit me hard. I went, oh my gosh, this is like, it's like a death. It really is death, because, you know, the person just left without even saying goodbye, left without communicating, just disappeared while I was at work, you know. I took all their stuff, done it twice, so it's not like I should have been shocked the second time he did it. And it's not like I'm not used to him being a runner, because, you know, he's that runner, that person that keeps running from anything that, yeah, anyway, we've talked about this to the nth degree, but there was no actual closure. So it's like, you know, someone goes to work one day and they die in a car accident or something, and you never get to say goodbye to the person, or they go away on a holiday and something happens whilst they're on the holiday, or unexpected, and no chance to say goodbye, you know, no chance to say goodbye, no chance to have, yeah. See, so I've already, the 9 months, the amount of grief I've had to go through just with the disgusting sort of weakness of not even actually having common courtesy of going, okay, Nadina, I don't want to be in this marriage anymore. I'm calling it quits. So we're going to have to start the discussions of asset division, this and this and this. And I wish you all the best. You know, there was nothing like that. There was just nothing like that. Just out of the blue, disappears. Well, not out of the blue, because he'd been acting quite weird to me for about 5 or 6 days prior to that. And yeah, there was definitely issues happening in his body and in his mind. And he was definitely being probed and provoked into, you know, not being committed to the marriage and being prepared to run. So I think there was some sort of plan. I think there was these people in his head encouraging him to run and leave. And so for him, it wasn't out of the blue. I think he was planning it, but not having the courage to communicate it. But for me, I just think, even if you have planned to leave and you are going to leave, you can still say goodbye. You can say, okay, wish you all the best. I'm off. I'm leaving. Goodbye. Even that in itself might have made a difference. It would have still been painful and hard, but it would have made a difference. So it's all like a death, because there wasn't that closure. And I had communication, and the person's, apart from a couple of text messages in the beginning that were just all about stupid, weird, nothing to do with anything that actually really helped us move forward in a good way, like in a mature manner. Nothing that really dealt with the full gamut of the full responsibilities of our shared assets and this and that, rah. Anyways, so apart from a couple of weirdly sort of odd, not very strong, not adulty messages from him, and apart from one email that I know was written by, or heavily edited by, another who just wants to completely control my husband. So you just, blah, blah. We've discussed all this before, everyone, so it's not like I'm saying anything new. But apart from that one email and those 3 text messages, there's been no contact or communication from him. And obviously in the beginning, I was still keeping him in contact with the animals, but I was doing it from a godly manner, sending prayers and sending messages, checking me, praying that he's okay. And then I just, after a while, went, no response. How boring. Oh, the only response is I'm getting a negative one. So I'll just pull my energy back. And that's when I really did the deep grief work way back then in, January, February type thing. And then, it's been an ongoing journey, here, there, everywhere, all over the place. What hit me yesterday was like a real death. It was like there was something about picking up that t-shirt and smelling his smell 9 months after, there was something about smelling that smell, his body odour. I slept with that t-shirt last night. I actually slept with that t-shirt and I cuddled into it, and because the first time he left, I used to cuddle into this jacket of his he'd left behind. That really smelled like him. It was an overcoat jacket with a hood, and it was really strong with his smell. So I used to I had that in my bed with pillows in it and would pretend it was him and cuddle it, That was the first time, but this last time there's been nothing like that. So and the second time he left, I really like the anger and I let myself really feel the intensity of the betrayal and the weakness. And so yesterday when I found that shirt, it really knocked me out and it put me into a very strange place, everyone. Like, put me into, and I'm going to use the word, widow land. It put me into the feeling of widow land. And it was just really set something off in me, and I know that this happens for you all too. So yeah, and then I cruising around, working through the sewing stuff, kept working through my own clothes, and then I started doing stuff in the kitchen, and I was keeping the fire going, and decided not to have a walk with the dogs yesterday, just have a day at home, and then I obviously fed the animals, made myself a healthy dinner, and I was going to have a bath, and I went, I don't even have the energy to run a bath, I think I'll just watch a movie. And then I watched this movie called Miss Potter. It was a movie about Beatrice Potter. That's an inspiring movie, what happened with that woman, hey? That's really inspiring. So that was an amazing. Renee Zellweger played Beatrice Potter. But anyways, just want to say that that was enjoyable watching that movie, and then I thought I might watch another movie, and the second one I think was okay, but nothing like the first one, so can't remember what it was now. And then I went, okay, and it was late enough to go to bed, and I went to bed, and that's right, the t-shirt was, because when I first found the t-shirt I went to the bedroom and just held it, cried. When I smelt it, it knocked me out earlier on the day, and I went to the bedroom for a while just to curl up and cry for a while. So the t-shirt was sitting on the pillow, and then when I went back, I don't know how many hours later, 6 or so hours later, I forgot that the t-shirt was there because I'd been watching these movies, you see. And yeah, and then I saw it again. I went, oh my gosh, okay, that's right. And I thought, yeah, okay. And I pick it up again, I smell it, and the grief just took over me. And then, and the Beatrix Potter character, there was this man who she was never going to get married, but then she met someone who she fell in love with, and he fell in love with her, and they wanted to be unconventional in that society. But they fell in love, and he ended up getting really sick and dying. He had a cough, and he ended up dying. And so, yeah. So I guess, yeah, and I thought it's so interesting, this being a widow. I feel they didn't get married, but the only person she'd ever loved died, and it knocked her out. And the whole thing was about, that's why you don't want to fall in love, because when you lose someone who you're in love with, it's such an excruciating depth of agony that it just makes you, it's hard to eat, it's hard to drink, it's hard to go to sleep. It's like the same as, when you're really head over heels in love with someone, you find it hard to eat, drink, sleep, rah. Well, it's the same when you're in grief over someone. So anyways, that's when I'm sitting there and I look over at my little shiny thing that I told you guys all about, and the rings are there, and I went, I'm actually a widow. I'm not going to be able to. So I thought, the wedding rings don't make me feel sick anymore, like nausea. Sometimes, so when I put them on yesterday afternoon, I did like a big prayer to God for my husband's health and well-being, and I'm so petrified he's going to die, and I'm going to get the no. I just know he's so unhappy, and he's in such a dangerous place, and he's so unhealthy, and I just know he's in a really bad way, and I have to pray all the time for his well-being, and he's under God's protection, and I just never know when I'm going to get a knock on the door from the police telling me that he died, and I'm like, I won't even ever get to say goodbye. I'll never get to say goodbye. Won't even be able to have the chance to say goodbye, just if he at least said goodbye to me when he left, at least I would have had that memory of a goodbye. It's really heartbreaking, everyone. And so And then I get messages from God all the time going, he's not going to die. I'm going to bring him home to his safe. It's okay. Like, he's going to come back. He's going to be very broken and very unhealthy. And I'm like, and I'm not, it's not up for me to fix him, man. He has to go to God to get fixed. You know, like, I'm not going to keep being the one that saves him and stops him from, he's got to be able to get some resilience, you know, work it out, learn how to make good choices, stick up for his good choices, so stick up for his heart, stick up for his truth, you know, his own truth. And in saying that, this is the bench that I was sitting at before. Ouch. And I had a takeaway coffee, so I just got to pick up my I'll have to get my coffee cup. Basically, yeah, that's what was happening for me yesterday. Just that process of feeling the widow energy. You know, when your beloved is gone, like gone, and when you know someone's dead, it's so much easier because you know that you're never going to see them again in real life ever. You know, like that's what happened with my brother. You know, when he died, you know I'm never going to see him again in physical form on this planet. You know, my brother rang me a couple of weeks before he died. We had the most amazing conversation, and it was a very healing conversation. So when he died, it was a tragedy, but at least he and I had this amazing conversation, which I've shared with you on the 19th of July when it was his birthday. You'll know if you look on my YouTube back then, you'll hear me talking about everything that he and I discussed in that phone call a few weeks before he died. And he was basically reaching out to make peace with everyone before he died. Which, you know, a lot of us know this now. A lot of people know that that's actually a sign that someone's about to unalive themselves when they reach out and they make peace with everyone. But I didn't know that back then. I just thought my brother was healing. It's alright, stay there. See there? By the way, it wasn't a takeaway coffee. It was a frappe. It was a coffee frappe. Oh, let's keep walking. They need a good walk today because I didn't take them for a walk yesterday. Ouch. So basically, we've got a break in the weather, as you can see. As you can see, it's not raining, and it's been raining really heavy a lot of today, and it's not raining now. So the topic of the widow talk. So Malaise and Inertia, when we feel like there's a lot of limbo going on, it is really hard to keep your motivation going. It's really hard to. This is a big challenge. It's a really big godly challenge for all of us. You know, there's so many of us who are stuck in a cycle, a lifestyle that, you know, a lot of things are great. We're really happy with a lot of things. Like, you know, like we know we're blessed, okay? We're never going to deny our blessings. And at the same time, there is a real deep sense of emptiness, like what I spoke about on one of my previous YouTubes. I spoke about this feeling of emptiness. I speak to a lot of people about this feeling, and it's like people want to feel connected and they want to belong, and obviously our lesson is we've got to build a sense of connection to ourselves, a true sense of connection to ourselves, a true sense of belonging with ourselves. So I personally think one of the main life lessons that a human has to go through is feeling a sense of connection to their self. And I remember the first time my husband went AWOL, I was wearing my wedding rings and his as a sense of connecting, because he, at that stage, he left his wedding ring in the shower, but this second time he left, he had it on, and I don't know if he's thrown it out or whatever he's done with it. But anyways, the point is, but I hope not, because his wedding ring actually cost us quite a lot of money. His wedding rings cost more than mine, actually. So hopefully he at least had the sense to sell it. Anyways, point of the story is, the point of the story is that first time I had his ring on and my 2 rings on, as a sense of connecting the masculine and the femininity within me. I was doing internal feminine masculine healing, and that was a really interesting journey. And then this time around I had them on because I was just devoted, Ezra. This second time around I was much more of a Christian woman, and I was coming from a godly devoted space of holding space for godly ordained love, because I believe God really was working with us had worked with us to bring us together and wanted us together as a power couple to do big work for God. And then, as I've shared with you, on the 21st of June, I couldn't get them off fast enough because I became really aware of the toxicity of the over-involvement in these other people, and that it had never been, he'd never come into it to be a real marriage, because he wanted to with all his heart and soul, but he was still a bit brainwashed, very brainwashed, and there was too many people in his head playing games with his head and trying to dominate and control, and they still had all this power, and they were getting away with really, really bad influencing, which I wasn't aware of just how full on it was, or how strong their influence was. So on the 21st of June, when I get those rings off, it was like, it was like vomit material. Couldn't get them off fast enough. That's why putting them on again last night was a really big deal. And I just feel like the symbolism of putting them on last night is accepting this process of being a widow. Like, it's yet another, and some people are going to look at me and go, why are your rings back on? And I'm going to go, I'm going to accept that I'm a widow. I'm going to accept that, I'm not actually a single woman. I'm not a single woman. Zena! Get up! She's rolling. I know she's rolling in something dead. Get up! When they... Get up! Get away! When they roll like that, they've rolled in something disgusting. You just know it. When they do that they're rolling back and forth and they've got this really happy look on their face, you know that it's something disgusting. Anyways, yeah, it's just been such a process last night and today, this widow acceptance. And for those of you who've been following my YouTube channel, and when I do shorts from this, I don't know, like, when we don't get closure, like, another thing is when people go to army, or they go hitchhiking, what do you call it, bush hiking, and they get lost in the wilderness, and someone goes AWOL. Like, there's actually a process of when people go missing and no one knows if they're alive or not. It's terrible, because you can't move on in life because you don't, and you're always worried if they're okay. You don't know. And yeah, but the ones that I think had it really hard were the wives of men who went to war and they went missing, and they couldn't move on. They couldn't remarry. They didn't know whether their husband was going to come home. They didn't know whether their husband was alive or not. They actually didn't know. And the blessed ones would eventually find out, and usually the husbands were very, damaged beings when they came back. But there was a time frame there where they just didn't know. And how they're supposed to move on in life, they can't, so they lose their life. So I feel like I should wrap this up. It's everyone, Malaise and Inertia. There's many different reasons for Malaise and Inertia. And I think the bottom one is we need to, you just go into it in honesty, without self-judgment. Like I've been praying to God, or I've just been really honest with myself. What is this feeling? Where is it coming from? What am I and what am I not? So I know I'm not lonely. I've got, if I needed to, I could reach out to so many people. So I'm not alone in this. I knew I wasn't depressed. And anyways, what I realised, it took me a while, I realised, I'm just very unmotivated. I'm just very uninspired. I'm not feeling that oomph today or yesterday. I'm not feeling it in my body. I'm not feeling it in my mind. And then when I was able to realise it's got nothing to do about loneliness or depression, it's just literally just a lack of zest, like a lack of, I was there going, exactly, that's what I was doing in my bed. And then I pray to God, like, God, please help me with my body aches and pains, my injuries, my energy levels, and back then it was raining really heavy, it was really grey, and then the sun comes up. I knew it would. In Northern we have quite rainy mornings, and then the afternoons are more clear, so that's okay. I bet you the sun comes up towards the end of the day, and it's only like 2 o'clock or something now, or 1 o'clock, and then I can take the dogs for a walk without us getting wet. They get their needs met. And I've got theatre practice tonight, so I've got to go home. So there's actually a couple of things I had to do today. One of them was walk the dogs, the other one was practice my lines before going to theatre tonight. One of the ladies in the theatre production said, do you want to go through lines together? So now that I've taken the dogs for a big walk, I can literally, that's a responsibility, and now I can literally go to this lady's house and practice lines if I want. And then I've acknowledged that commitment, because part of me just literally wants to give up on that commitment. So there's a big part of me that wants to renege from being part of this theatre production, but I don't want to. I need to be brave. I need to stick it out. But I'll tell you something that I find really interesting, and that is my character is called Widow Cracker. And it's a really interesting character. So she's been foiled. It's the bank manager has signed a dastardly contract with my recently deceased husband, and the bank manager's trying to take my property off me. And then the whole play pans out. The bank manager pans out. There's a new train track, more country town, and it actually goes. The bank manager wanted to, because he wanted, and then so not only did it turn out that the bank manager gets foiled, but it turns out that this widow who could barely afford, she can't even, she's about to lose everything. She's about to lose her land, the mortgage payments have gone really expensive, this and this and this and this and this. And so anyways, turns out that not only does she keep her land, but she's actually going to become a very wealthy woman. Anyways, that's right, because the train railway people paying for the bit of land that they need to put the train track through. That's right. Anyways, basically playing Widow Cracker. It was also another thing. I thought, I actually have wedding rings at home sitting in my little crystal love heart bowl in front of my desk on my dresser in my bedroom. I probably should wear them for the play. That's when I first started thinking that I might wear the rings again. Just for the play at least, as a prop. Funny, hey? And then I started thinking along the lines of that widow. Widow wearing her rings when her husband is deceased, gone, It started to get me thinking about the whole energy of being a widow. And then, that was about a week ago, and then I found my husband's shirt yesterday that had his smell, an unwashed t-shirt that had his smell, his very distinctive BO, a nice BO, not a bad BO, a really nice smell. And then and as soon as I held it, I could just, I was holding the shirt, I could just imagine him being right there in front of me. And then it made me get into that character of being a widow, what it's like to be a widow. And then it made me think, does a spouse have to be dead for us to be a widow? Weird, eh? Like those wives of husbands have gone missing in army, like in the war. Their husband's gone, been gone for many, many years, and they don't have a death certificate. Like, are they a widow? So it's an interesting topic, isn't it, everyone? And then if you really want to go back to that inertia and malaise thing, everyone, like, grief has many different tangents, and we need to be really honest with the impact of grief. Like, I don't know what you can see down there. I might actually put this hat on. Oh shit, turn around. It's very sunny where I am, so I don't know what you can see. Can you see that the river's coming down? Significantly. At one point this basically becomes quite dried out. Oh, that's what I wanted to show, they're running, but we missed it. Anyways, everyone, yeah, this is actually where I was sitting over there when I was talking to you about my brother on the 19th of July, sorry. I was sitting right there. So, yeah, we do different bits of the river. Okay, what have I got here? Sorry about that. We do different bits of the river. So this is the Northern Tatooja side. This is the Horsey Quine area. And then the other area that you see is the Burloin pulls up to Moresque. Oh, so wow, Zena, she did miss me though. So cycles, everyone. Part of my YouTube channel is showing you the different cycles of life, and for people to survive. I'm going up a hill now. Hello, hang on, Zena, Alvin. Oh gosh, Zena, Alvin, come here. Sit, Zena, Alvin, come here. Zena, sit. Alvin, come here. Sit.
Let's go for a jog.
Sit.
I go for a swim?
Oh yeah.
All right, cool.
Beautiful day, isn't it? Alvin, come here now. Zena. That's got to stop. Sorry. Keep well. Oh, mate. It's not okay when you do that. It's all right. What they're doing, they just go up near the people. They run up and they go about half a metre away, and then they just stand there wagging their tail. So they don't jump on the people, but they still do a bit of a run towards them. Hello. And some people just, and yeah, got them to sit, and but they need to just do it straight away. It's all right. They're getting it. She's 9 months. He's 18 months. He's going to take 3 years to train. Xena is a particularly highly intellectual dog, so she'll pick up. She picks up quicker. She'll be able to get trained probably within a year. Alvin will take another 12 months. I already knew that when I got the character. So, like, I knew that his breed takes 3 solid hard years, like gruelingly hard. Like, they've both got bull mastiff in them, which is that part of their character is very obstinate, very bullheaded. Let's just call it bullheaded. It's in the. Don't worry, I did all my research. Oh gosh, that man that just ran past, he's so funny. He does jogs a lot. He runs around Northern. It's so funny when you live in a small country town and you get to know the people. And that's another thing, everyone. I'm known in this town now as the woman whose husband ran away, the woman whose husband deserted her, abandoned her, betrayed her. Like, we moved to this country town as a married couple, all right? Most of the time I've been in this town, I've been here on my own. He hasn't been here. So moved to this small country town to set up a whole new life, you know, as a single woman. But I'm not a single woman. I'm a widow. You know what I mean? It's fucking awful. It's fucking awful. But what I love about it is I'm only getting grace, love, support, kindness. And everyone in Northern understands that some people just can't hack country living. Some people do come up here and then they run off really quickly because the winters are cold, the summers are hot. You have to chop wood for your fires. You have to deal with frost early in the morning. You have to work out how to get through the summers. The summers are so blistering hot up here. And it brings the people together because it's not easy to survive up here. You gotta be tough. That's what makes everyone up here so real, so honest, so authentic. The people that stay, that is. Yeah, and that's an interesting story. So it's interesting that the first play I do in my life, I think I did a couple of productions in primary school or something, but anyway, the first theatre production play I've been part of, and in the small country town as a mature woman, as a character, widow cracker. Come on. Yeah, so there you go. It's quite apt, isn't it? And the energy that it's put me into, the space, my lines, and yeah, just the ethos of looking into being a widow. Funny. Anyways, do we go up to the bench and I end it sitting down at the bench? I think I might do that because I can't see it properly here, and I guess we can do a prayer. And the bench is just around the corner, so I guess no, I don't think I will end it there. I think I will end it now. Anyways, okay. God bless. God bless. My bit of advice, suggestion, pearl of wisdom, whatever you want to call it. When we slump into malaise or inertia, we need to be mindful. If it's an unhealthy malaise or inertia, and that is chemical depression, that's real dark, you know, when your house is falling apart around you, your hygiene suffering, you're isolating, not eating, like really dangerous slump. You know, apart from the dark, dangerous, like non, I might actually go through this way actually. Apart from the dark inertia, the dark malaise, and I hope you know what I mean by that. That's not a healthy place to be. If you're in there, you've got to reach out, get major help from people that you trust. I don't actually believe there's many people in the medical or mental profession that do anything to really help anyone out. I realise that they're overall predominantly useless. So I would never go to a mental or mental health practitioner. I will promote going to God. Must go to God, communicate with God, and think of who can you really trust. And then also, as far as professional people goes, because what's that word professional really mean? A lot of those people have got their certificates without actually understanding what they were actually doing. But there are good practitioners out there. There are good people out there that care about their clients and care about the well-being of people. That they do exist. Okay, there are some practitioners out there that actually really do have the well-being of the person, and they're in the job they really are there for the right reasons. So pray to God for them to come into your life, because that's also what I need. I need a really good counsellor. And if you've got any suggestions, bring it on. I need someone that's got real high integrity, that really works from their heart, that's godly. Someone who has high ethics. And then I can do some really good work with that person. Because when I start to go into a dark slump, I'm not going to say all I have, I'm so blessed. I have God. I have a really incredible relationship with God and Jesus. And I also, through God and Jesus, have this incredible network of true blue authentic friends, like true blue authentic friends. So that's where my allied health team comes into play. I personally, if I'm going into a deep malaise or like a dark malaise or a dark inertia, I'm aware of the trigger. I'm becoming more and more aware of the triggers all the time. I'll look at the slumps, and so one of them is if I find it hard to make a cup of tea, or if I find it difficult to care about what my hair looks like, if I don't brush my hair, I'm just looking at small triggers. If I slump into I don't care what I look like anymore, that's me not loving myself as a vessel. Also, if I slump into that mentality of I'm a burden and no one cares, then I know I'm in real dark, dangerous territory, because that's devil land. Because the demon, Satan, wants us to be isolated, to be not loving ourselves, to be feeling like no one loves us, to feel like no one's there for us, to be in isolation. So it's actually in isolation that dark isolation is where Satan has really taken over, and we're allowing Satan to have more power than God. So if I ever slump into any of those spaces, the first thing I do is ring a trusted friend, or I text. I've got this group of people I can text, and I let them know and all these people know to take my words seriously. I don't need to overemphasize anything. All I have to say is I need a friend right now, or right now I'm just feeling really sad. And when I say, if I text to someone, right now I'm feeling really sad, they know that I'm slumping into deep grief. So I don't have to use strong, overemphasized, and that's what happens when you have true friends, true authentic friends. You don't have to explain the story or use, qualifying language. You just state the facts. Right now, I'm feeling really tired. Right now, I'm feeling really sad. Right now. But so today, for example, when my friend texted me and asked me if I was okay, I said, in lots of physical pain, really low energy, but my mental spirits are good. So by me saying, but my mental spirits are good, she knows I'm okay. But if I had just said, my body's in, I'm really hurting, really sore and really tired, she would have either asked another question, knowing that I need to know that she's got the energy to hear it, or she would just say, all right, what do you need from me? But because I said I'm mentally in a good space, she knows I'm okay. She trusts me. She believes that I would reach out if I was in real need. And I've learned that's what God needs for me to do. So everyone, when I speak about inertia and malaise in dark, if I'm in dark malaise or an inertia, just going under the, I don't know if you can see it. Sorry, I don't know what you guys can see. I was trying to show you. Oh, there it is. I can't see anything right now because the sun's in my eyes. The wind's picked up. The dark malaise and the dark inertia, everyone, is dangerous. Take it seriously. That's why you need to get your trusted friends. You've got to get with God's grace, you've got to work out who you can trust and set up good, healthy, clear boundaries with your trusted friends so you actually can reach out to them when you go into those, because they are a part of life. They are a cycle. It is just natural. It's when someone's an awakened, aware, alive and human being, they literally will you will fall into that cycle. It's just when we're truly living life and we're feeling the full abundance and the full joy of life, we will also feel the full pains and the full anguishes of life. Everyone, you've just got to accept that the cycles are, unless you're living that zombie, veiled, numbified 3D sort of not feeling any true authentic highs or lows, okay? Unless you're in that space, when you're living a true authentic life and you're allowing 5D and 6D dimension to come into your life, you are going to feel real highs and you are going to feel real lows. And that's not being manic. Being manic is when you go so high that you've got no balance. So you go so. If you're feeling this real euphoric joy, that is not manic. That's not mania, everyone. If you're feeling this real euphoric joy and the blessings of life are just, you're actually having orgasms because of the joy of life, that is actually godly joy. That is actually how God feels. That is actually what true joy feels like. And then to have a life where you feel those true joys, you will have your days of malaise and your days of restoration, and where you feel the depths of what it is to be a human, the depths of what it is to be on this planet. There is a density on this planet and it is heavy, and there is a drudgery to it, and there is this suffering and this toil, and that's not being depressed, everyone. That's not depression. See, I don't suffer from depression, okay? I very rarely go into any form of depression. But if I went to a doctor, or a mental health practitioner, most of those people, because they're so unaware of what it really is to be a truly godly, aware, in their body, full gamut living person, most of those people would look at some of my ways of being and they would try to say something like, oh, you've got depression right now, here, have some tablets to get you out of depression. No, I'm not in depression, mate. I'm just feeling the drudgery of the ongoing toil and suffering of what it is to be a human on this planet. You try to say that to a doctor, they go, ugh, what language are you speaking? Because they don't get it. They don't understand somatics, they don't understand somatic healing. They don't, some doctors do, some. But most of those doctors just don't stay in that profession for that long. They move on quite quickly. How can you stay in that profession if you really care about the well-being of people? So, these dogs are wet. They're bloody wet. don't know if you can see them. I don't know if I want them in the car at the moment, to tell you the truth. You know what, I might just go for a little bit more of a walk up here, because I want Xena to dry out just a little bit, because she's been rolling and stuff as well. And then I'll come back to the car, because yeah, I already know I saw her rolling something before. Then she went for a swim, which I'm okay about. We won't go very far. We'll go up to that bench up there and then we'll come back. So everyone, there's a lot that I can say on this topic of malaise. And one of the main things that I want to say is it's natural, it's good, and it's healthy. Up until a point, as what I just shared with you before, up until a point where you are self-isolating in a way where you feel like you're a burden and no one cares. Or now, if you feel like you're a burden and no one cares, that is not healthy malaise. That's dangerous, dangerous, dangerous. The minute you feel like no one cares and you're a burden, everyone hear that's danger territory. That you've got to get help immediately. And yeah, so my bit of malaise and my inertia, everybody knows that most people know that a big part of my malaise and my inertia just comes from I'm in a situation which I know a lot of you are also in, where in our surrender to God's journey, we can't understand what it is that God, like, we get given visions, we get given insight and inspiration, and we get given guidances and milestones to keep us going, because God really wants us to keep, when we surrender to God, God wants to keep, doesn't want to lose us. So God will do everything to make sure that we it's all free will as well, but God will give us anything and everything we need to stay alive. But for us to truly do God's work and to truly surrender to our path does involve not knowing, not actually, like we get given the visions. Now, does God do that just as a lure, as a carrot to keep us going? That's actually one thing I've been considering lately, and I know some of you might go, and I watch some of you might go, oh, that's a bit, hang on, I just got to take my jacket off. You're going to see the sky for a second. Oh, yeah, I brought that rain jacket and it didn't rain, so, oh gosh, I'll show you the view. We'll sit here for a little minute, shall we? So there's little Alvin, there's little Xena. They're tired, but I want them to dry out just a little bit. But yeah, the malaise thing. So my friend who wants to do practice, she wants to do theatre line practice with me today. I told her I'd let her know by late afternoon, because I had to decide, one, do I really want to be in the play? Can I handle it? Can I learn the lines well enough? Two, do I really want to be around people? And then I had to get myself authentically into that space. Like not push myself, because okay, how do I explain this? Okay, if I had answered earlier than now, it would have been an inauthentic answer. I would have been doing it from a little bit of a place of feeling pressured to really push myself to be brave, to be and I thought, no, I'm going to give myself a few hours. And where did that information come from? I got heard in my head, just take half of the day for yourself. Like, just, is that God talking to me? Is it my higher self? But it's like, no, Nadina, don't make any decisions right now, because I was not feeling well this morning. And I thought, do I even tell the director that I'm sick and I can't come? I thought, no, I'm not going to make that decision right now. I'll make that decision around 1 or 2 o'clock. And then now that I've walked the dogs and I've had some sun, because as I said, it was raining earlier, and we've had a very grey, stormy morning, and now it's 2 p.m. and it's sunny and it's beautiful and it's blue, and I've had some sun on my skin. I'm sweating right now. I feel more motivated. I have seasonal deficiency disorder, so when it's grey, I'm always more depressed. And I know that. I go, okay, it's grey, it's a stormy grey day, boom, straight away I'm going to be more depressed. 2, my body's in physical pain because the rain always makes my body hurt. Boom, take that in consideration. 3, this 4, this 5, this 6, this. So I have a stock take on what could be making me low. And then I go, and what else is there that I might be unaware of? And that's what I like to meditate on, or to reflect on, or to pray to God for, to see if there's a learning from that malaise, that inertia. And as I shared with you earlier on this video, because it's been gone for 1 hour and 10 minutes, it's to do with the whole concept of widowedness and limbo-ness. And all of my friends know this. All of my friends, everyone who is aware of my situation goes, it's actually a really hard stance to be in. It's a really hard life to be in. A limbo land is a very, it's it can actually, it's a nothingness. Like, there's nothing solid in limbo. You can't move on in limbo. Like, what decision do you make when you're in a limbo space? What decision can one make from that space? And that's where the surrender process is so important, because a lot of the time you go, well, I can't really make any decisions from that space. Like, the only decisions I can make is to be praying to God, listening to the guidance. It's full surrender. It's nothing but full surrender. And this is what we've been talking about in this YouTube channel for a really long time. And this full surrender process actually does cause malaise and inertia, because I can be in action, keeping the house clean, working on the land. Like, I just went to start the car before and it wouldn't start. Like, the car urgently needs to get fixed. I think it's electrical. It actually, 3 times now, it hasn't started over a period of the last month, 2 months. So I actually know that there's going to come a time when I go to start the car and it won't start. So I urgently need to get in action to get the money together to get the car fixed. So, that's something that I have to do. That's not a godly directed direction. That's actually that's an action that I need to take. And obviously my next pay, I'll have to put a big chunk of it towards the car. I've got no choice but to do that, or the car's going to just stop working on me. So, what's my point in all this? So there's action that we take that just makes sense. It just, we just do it. And then there's action that we go, am I doing that because I think I have to, or because, like, for example, I really need to get onto my admin. I really need to sit there and do paperwork. And me and a heap of other friends have identified that one area of our life that we find the hardest is admin. So I'm thinking, do we set up an admin support network where we just get together and sit there one day a fortnight, have a cup of tea, bring our paperwork to each other's homes, take turns and go to each other's homes, and just sit there at different kitchen tables. I might propose this to someone, a couple of my friends actually. Zena, there might be someone coming. No, there might have been someone coming, but there's not. Zena, I'm just waiting for her to get dry, and then take them home. And then I think I will ring my friend who does this, Colleen, who does this theatre production with me, and maybe I will go to her house early and do line practice with her. Dogs will be happy, give them a chicken frame, and they had a big run. Zena! Oh, maybe that runner's coming back soon. Anyways, the malaise and the inertia, everyone, is a cycle of life when you're living a true life. But if it goes into a dark space, then you reach out immediately. If it's not a dark space, and then, like, as in, if you're not feeling like you're a burden, and if you're not feeling like all is hopeless, if you feel like everything's hopeless and you're a burden, then that's, next level danger. But under that, if you're just feeling this sense of just non-motivation, uninspired, exhaustion, that's healthy. And then, obviously we put that into God's hands, and then we also work out what can we do to fix it, change it. What do we have to do in this life? I have to walk my dogs. I've got no choice. They're my dependents. They need to have a walk. And then obviously I get benefit from that. I love our walks. And then, I'm committed to this theatre production, so I have to learn my lines. Otherwise, I'm letting that group of people down, or I can just pull out. Tonight, I could just pull out if I wanted to. And that's no loss if I decide to pull out. That's nothing for me to be ashamed of. The play probably won't go ahead if I pull out because it's in 2 months and I'll have to find my character and someone else. But it's my prerogative if I want to pull out, but I won't because I'm getting joy from it. So I can do it. I can learn these lines, and I can be brave. And there's other people it's their first play as well, so I'm not the only one. So I will continue. That's the only other thing I have to do today. The only thing I have to do today is walk the dogs, feed the dogs, learn more of my lines, get to rehearsal on time, working on Wednesday. So tomorrow is another day where I can just work on chores around the house, and that's where the toil and the malaise and the inertia comes in, because go, where's the joy in all this, where's the highlight, and someone might go, it's the sun. It's feeling the sun on my skin right now. That's a very simple blessing, isn't it? Feeling the sun on my skin right now could be the highlight of my day, and that's a really beautiful highlight because there are a lot of countries where they just don't get the sun like we do. So it's about getting simple, peaceful, quiet, surrendering, and getting out of the the woe is me mentality. The woe is me mentality. And when you're in nature, it's really easy to not be woe is me. The minute I'm around the car or around the house, the woe is me mentality picks up just a little bit easier because of all the responsibilities and everything that I have to do, and then I get really overwhelmed. But then I focus on just keep it simple, and then I go, well, at least I did my chore of looking after the animals, walking the dogs, and then when I go to the rehearsal tonight, obviously there's a part of me that has fun when I'm there, and and then I come home and I go, okay, that's another day done. God, I did it. We did it, God. We did it. We did another day, and so I don't know what you guys are going to get from this YouTube, this talk today. The cycles, like, do not think that malaise and inertia is despair, okay? Or depression. It's just not. Does my heart feel really heavy right now? Yeah. Yeah. Do I feel this sinking dread? Yeah. Do I feel like I could vomit from the dread? Yeah. Do I feel like a shaky sort of heart palpitating sort of uneasiness in my body because everything feels too hard, too scary, too sad, too... Yeah. Yeah. Am I in depression? No. And that's really what I really want to impart on this YouTube channel, everyone. Our mental health system doesn't really help people heal, because what I really need is good somatic healing. I need to be around a really trained, heart-based person. I need to have someone I can ring to have these conversations with and go really deep into exploring this energy with someone who really gets it, understands it, and get to the crux of it. Where does it actually come from? What is the depth, the actual reason, the real reason for my malaise and my inertia? What is the actual fundamental core belief system or core cellular memory that is setting off for me to have seasonal deficiency disorder, that I can't handle grey skies, or that I feel like I'm going to suffocate from lack of air because of the high anxiety of the surrender process, of the trust process, of the the this trusting of life and the like the death process, life, death. So what I was saying to you about the widow energy, like me being a widow, so we all have these different lives and we get directed to certain lives. We all have different challenges, and there's something about my life path that's where God's wanted me to experience a lot of physical pain, a lot of physical anguish, and there's actually a reason for that. Like God has a reason for me having to experience so much heartache and heartbreak and it is the beginning of it is this YouTube channel, but it's more like I'm meant to be doing more. I'm actually meant to be doing a lot more, like a lot more, and I can't do more till the house is more livable and more organised, and until my physical ailments and my mental and physical ailments are more healed. Or maybe that's not true. Maybe I do enough with all my physical, maybe me being all this physical pain, like my pain levels right now are probably an 8, but you wouldn't know, no one would know. Most people would think I'm at a 2, or they wouldn't even know at all if I didn't tell them, but I'm in just so much pain right now. And I'm so used to being in physical pain, especially my shoulder and my wrists and my knee and my left ankle now. And God, there's a reason for that. So this has gone 1.5 hours. There has to be a reason why my body's in so much physical pain, and I'm in a situation where what I do for money aggravates my injuries and makes me more pain, and what I do for money barely keeps me going in life. But if I wasn't moving or working, I would definitely become a cripple. And I live in a really great place where we get sun every day. Like it might be really cold and rainy, but then we get the sun. So I know a lot of you watch my YouTube and you probably think you're actually circling, you're looping, but this is actually why we need good mental health. We need to see that when you work something out, it takes a while to get to the crux of the issue sometimes. And the way you get to the crux of the issue is by unpacking. And sometimes the unpacking is a spiral. And the more you talk about it with like-minded people who are really open, the more you actually get to what actually is the fundamental core reason for it all. And all I can each and every time come back to is surrender. It's just about having full faith, having absolute full faith in God for the journey. And like the car didn't start before, and that's the third time now in 2 months that it hasn't started, and I'm just going, right, so and then I go, God, please, I promise you. I know we shouldn't say I promise, but I go, God, I know the car needs a service. Trust me, I know the car needs a service. I've got to buy the dog some more dog food, you see. I've only got enough for that's what I've got to do when I get on the way. Sorry, yeah, I'll do that. Actually, that's God. Eileen just had enough to get them through tonight, but they wouldn't have had any for the morning. So they've got the chicken frame. I've run out of kiblets. It's Monday, and yesterday I said I've got to get some more dog food tomorrow. And on the way home, we're going to. They're so ready to go. Watch this. Oh, they're okay. They're actually okay, but see. They were running, they were doing circles around me before, but now they're actually getting thirsty. But the point of the story is I've completely forgot that I was supposed to buy them kiblets. And then now that I've remembered, I'll get that on the way home. And yeah, I know he's getting thirsty, I think. Yeah, they're both getting thirsty. Summer's coming soon, hey? When summer's here, I'm going to have to carry backpacks with water and stuff. So much to remember. So much responsibility, everyone. I said to this beautiful friend of mine the other day, am I adulting okay? And he goes, you are adulting so good. Like, you're excelling. You're excelling. And I said, it's just that I'm just so floundering with, like, there's so many areas I'm floundering in. Just find it all so hard. And he says, well, he's really honest. I do too. It explains in what areas he finds his life really hard. When I say I'm floundering this and this to other friends, they go, yeah, well, me too. My beautiful friend Colleen, for example, she's in a beautiful marriage with 2 teenage boys, and she says, Nadina, I flounder in this and this area. So, because I didn't have proper role modelling, everyone. And for any of you following my YouTube channel, you'll understand that when you don't have proper role modelling, you parent yourself from a really early age, and you don't know what is okay and what is not okay because you didn't get taught the good ways. I knew I wanted to do everything opposite to how I was brought up. That's all I knew, was that whatever I do, it's got to be different or opposite to my childhood. So that was one gauge. Yeah, and that's when I pray to God, I'm going, got this message today, pray for what you need. And I was like, I need support, God. I need support. I need support. And then as I say that, I go, but I'm getting support. Well, how can I pray for support when I already know I have it? I have this amazing group of friends. And then I realised, no, it's not actually just supporting friends. It's like this, my last YouTube that I spoke to all about. It's actually that team player. It's that, that my partner by my side, which is why, I've gone into that widow energy, because I tried to get my mind around. It took me so long to accept that I was in a separation. Like, to me, I was just so committed to my husband up until the 21st of June this year. Completely committed, 100% committed, right? And then to slip into that, to allow the feeling of being separated, and then to allow the feeling of being single to come in, and then to explore the world of being single, and then to explore the euphoria and the joys of the world of being single, and all the possibilities that are out there, all of the, like, what my life could be if I was truly a single woman is amazing. Like, who I would attract into my life, what I would attract into my life, how much support I would have, the team member I'd have, my life would be so different. It would be so different if I was a single woman. And to allow that to come into play and going, okay, well, I can be a single woman by, putting a divorce proceeding in place. And as I shared in one of my previous YouTubes, I would put the divorce proceedings in based on adultery, because my husband's been committing adultery. He's been committing adultery since before we got married. As I said earlier, there's been 5 in the bed, and his commitment was to others over his commitment to our marriage, and he didn't even know it himself. So that's where it wasn't like he deliberately chose to be an adulterer initially, but then he did consciously choose to be an adulterer because he chose to commit to others, prioritise others, and lie to others. Play a game with these others at the expense of honouring us. So the honour and the commitment to our marriage wasn't there from the beginning. So on those grounds, God is okay about people divorcing when there's adultery. And it's really interesting, Ron, because when you have to accept that there's been unfaithfulness in a marriage, especially when you're someone who's got an abuse history, it's this thing called betrayal trauma, and it's really hard to accept. It's really hard to trust others, and it's really hard to trust yourself. Like you start going, I don't make good decisions. I can't make good decisions. I'm not capable of making good decisions. Betrayal trauma is a really hard trauma to work through because we really start to doubt our own intuition, and that took me many, many, many months to heal. Many months to heal. So I worked through that, and then, as I said yesterday, when I went into the widow grief, because without a death certificate, I can't claim divorce under death because I haven't got a death certificate. I don't know whether my husband's alive or dead right now. I know he's dead in his soul and dead in his heart, and his life's at high risk, and he's mentally and psychologically and physically in a really dark, bad, unhealthy space. I know that, so I know that he's not living, but he's probably still actually technically alive. And yeah, that's one thing. And but then when I pray to God about the divorce and me being a single woman and moving on, then I'm going, what do I do about the assets? What do I do about this house that we co-own? There's an entanglement. It's not just like getting divorced and move on. They're playing with something over there. It's quite beautiful. And then I pray to God and I said, you know, I listened to you. I came here. I surrendered to you. Oh, they're not being snake. They're playing with that quite a lot, actually. They're playing with that bundle of stuff quite a lot over there. So, yeah, it's a really interesting topic, everyone, because when we pray to God and we talk to God and we listen to God, the message, that's what I mean about the surrendering. And the surrendering process, we get messages sometimes that, okay, so in the beginning, for example, I was always getting messages, you know, I'm working miracles on your husband, your prodigal spouse will be coming home broken, but he needs to be healed. He needs to do a lot of healing. He'll be coming home when he's really stepped up and honoured, you know, when he's by his free will, when he steps up. Different words. God uses different words. I'm just trying to simplify. God, often the messages that come to me come with a vision and almost like a sing-song sort of paragraph, but it's more of a vision. It's more of a picture. So when I describe some stuff to you on the YouTube, it's not nowhere near as lovely or eloquent as what I hear, what I see. Sorry, what I hear, I hear the picture. So I get given the picture, and then I get given the words to go with the picture. But the words aren't spoken. It's like it's a. But everyone, they talk about church as well. These people were talking about church the other day, and there was this man. One of the men doing communion was explaining how God speaks to him. And I was like, oh, that's actually how I get spoken to as well. Cool. And I was listening to his article the other day, and like same thing. She said sometimes she just says, boom, like there's this person next to her yelling at her, boom, 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 boom. Because when it's a matter of urgency, God will yell. God will get the angels to yell. God will yell. Like when it's like, you know, that God will speak very loudly when it's required, and other times it's more peaceful and eloquent and more. And there's always free will, like we always have a. But it's so funny when something's really important and it's an intervention, and we're still trying to use our free will, and God's or the cherubim, whatever, the seraphim, whatever is God using to speak to us, goes, no, you will listen to this. It gets louder. And one of the things that I've experienced, if I really try to ignore a message, this is where it gets really interesting. sometimes I'll hear a message and I'll be in defiance about it, or I'll be in denial, defiance or denial or confusion about it. And then all of a sudden there'll be this, I'll see these things flying around me, like I would want to call them fairies, except for they're way bigger than fairies, so like big golden orbs. It's like I'm going to have to call them cherubims, you know, the little cherubims, the little golden cherubims. So the other day there was 3 of them, and they just went, they just 3 of them at one time, so they did a circle around me just once, and they did 3 of them went around me at once, and there was this golden, but I could see their shapes, so there was 3 of them. One went past, then the next, and then the next, but I knew it wasn't the same one going around past 3 times fast. It was 3 of them going around slow, and then I had 3 of them around my head, but I didn't see them at that point. I just saw one go past, then another, and then another, and then I just knew that they were above my head in a circle. But I felt them. Sorry, I saw them, and then I felt them, and they were much, much, much bigger than fairies. They were quite large, little chubby, not chubby, I shouldn't say that, cheruby, but so bright gold. And each time one of them went past me, I just got filled with this golden light, filled with this golden emboldenment, and this filled with this golden conviction. It's really hard to explain, but oh, sorry, I don't know what words to use. You see Alvin and Zena in there? There's little Zena. There's Albany. The river's just down there. If they need water, they can always run down and get some more water. But basically what happened was that was an intervention. And that's how God does interventions. God doesn't just go doof, doof, doof in these really firm words. God often does interventions in this most beautiful way, and then it's a real empowerment. It's like real sort of like giving food, you know, like it's like my child, keep going, you're okay. Like it's like a parent encouraging the child. That I can imagine if you had healthy parenting, an adult parent would say to an adult child, well done. So say if you're 40 or 50 or 60 and you've got a really loving parent. I have a loving mum, but she's not capable of giving what a mum needs. I've explained this in my previous lives. She's mentally not capable of giving bare basics. She loves me completely. So for example, if I rang her right now and I was crying, she would say, I love you, and I know she loves me. But she wouldn't be able to offer, you know, advice or and I don't burn her. I choose not to burn her because it's too much for her. Like, so it's not that she's not there for me. I just know that she can't give me what I need. And I love her so much, and I know she loves me, and just knowing that she loves me is enough. But yeah, I can imagine if you had a really... My friend Colleen's got a really healthy relationship with her father and her mother, but her mother went to heaven a few years ago. And they encourage